Hey, welcome to Game Dev Weekly. If you're new here, I'm working on Hydroneer, a mining game where you dig for gold and other resources to build massive mining machines. If you want to check out Hydroneer, head over to the Patreon link below. For a minimum of $2, you can check out the game right now, or if you would rather wait for the Steam release, check out the link below to my Steam page and add it to your wishlist. The first thing I'm going to work on this week is a point of relativity that the items are actually held in. You can see from this video here that items are held kind of relative to the camera, whereas previously the items were held just stuck onto the player and the camera would move independently of these items. The reason I put this in was because of the pickaxe mining gun that I added in on the last update, and that's because you need to kind of be able to move your camera to actually move where you're looking at and where you're digging. However, after some thought, I think this is just not the right way of doing it. I think I need to have it so the mining gun works completely independently on this system and all the items are held in place. So that's the first thing that I fixed this week. Just changing that over was relatively simple. I basically had to change a bit of code which determines the rules of how the items are held in the game. You may remember way back in episode 9, I had buildable vehicles. Now these were using modular pieces that you can see here, and this was a very outdated system that I've since removed. And I've removed it because I really didn't like it. It didn't really work too well. There was a lot of cool ideas within the actual concept. You basically snap together these modular pieces and you could build whatever vehicle you wanted. You'd also wire it up using these wires that would be attached to a control panel, and then you could have like custom controls with how this object worked. That sounds like a really cool idea, but it had a lot of issues, and these issues were pretty damn crazy. Pieces would be attached to the wrong pieces, so rotors and extending pieces wouldn't work correctly. You can see here some of these issues. So a couple updates ago, I decided to just completely scrap it in favor of putting in a new polished system. And this new polished system is going to be hydro-powered vehicles that work independently and don't have to run on rails. This week I'm going to show you the first vehicle that I'm adding in, which is a hydro-powered pickup truck. This is going to be used as the first vehicle you get when you start the game. It's made for transporting yourself and also transporting goods around the map. So this is an untextured version of the vehicle. It's meant to be kind of like an all-terrain tractor pickup that runs off of water-powered energy. Right now I'm pretty happy with how it's come out. The vehicle needs a bit of work with how it maneuvers, but for the most part it's looking really nice. I also want to add in some additional suspension, as well as tweak some of the settings to make sure it's not so quick and it handles more like you would expect it to. What you can see here is I've imported it into a completely separate level. So this means that I don't have to create the system for getting in and out the vehicle just yet. I can kind of tweak it, test it, we can throw it back into the modeling engine and then throw some textures on it as well. There's still a lot of code that I haven't implemented at this stage. So things like highlighting when you mouse over it, or the vehicle requiring some fuel. There's a little gauge on the side that will tell the player how much fuel is in the tank, as well as a level that they can see through the top hole in the fuel tank. So now the truck has got textures and it's put into the main game. I've done quite a lot of code on it so the player can enter and exit the vehicle, but I got some pretty major issues here. You can see the truck is flipping all over the place, and I think this is just down to the vehicle being too static and rigid. I think it needs some suspension just so the physics doesn't mess with it and make it flip in out of control like you're seeing here. I've done some other code as well, like I mentioned previously, the kind of water levels, having fuel, fuel gauge, being able to highlight and refuel and all that stuff. But the next thing I think I need to work on is to get the suspension in, as well as some sounds. Because right now it's flipping all over the place and it's quite hard to do any more work on it. So that's the next thing I'm going to be working on. So I've added some suspension to our vehicle and we've got a little bit of an issue. As you can see here, the wheels are somewhat a bit messed up. It may actually be the sockets that the wheels are attached to are slightly rotated, and that's what's making it do this. I'm going to jump into the model editor and see if I can fix this. Okay, so it looks like that bug is now fixed. The wheels are looking pretty straight to me. We've now got suspension, so the wheels will move up and down depending on what it's driving over. So this unfortunately hasn't solved the issue where the vehicle goes flying off randomly like it's Team Rocket in Pokemon.
We're blasting off because of busy.
although it has improved slightly. So it is something that I am going to be working on next week. And since I'm coming to the end of the week now, I think I'm going to call it there for this episode. If you've enjoyed what you've seen and you want to check out Hydroneer and play it for yourself, then head over to the Patreon link below. The game is expected to release in May, and you can add it to your wishlist from the Steam page below. A big thank you to my Patreons as usual. I hope you're enjoying the current version and you're excited for this next one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.